movement, it creates rotation and pulsation of the fluffy matter. And so that's the reason, and by the way, these waves of impulses move in the spiral form that's in your exhibit there, in that particular shape. That's why there's no edge to the universe, because the energies all move in this spiral fashion, and they never really come to an end of anything. They're like a continuous movement that keeps moving on. Time, the clock as we think of it then, started way back when. Billions of years ago then, even trillions of years ago, when this impulse of time came into our material belt, that's when the clock started ticking. So from that point on, the impulses of time are animating the matter, and the time machine started. And the concept, technology, whatever, of moving in time is the understanding of how these pulses work in the coarse matter world. Time travel then can be reduced simply to the understanding of the impulses of the time factor, where you can actually move up and down these pulses and see matter at different stages of development, which is time traveling. Okay? At this point, though, we have no firmament. There's no stars floating around. That's what happens next. The fluffy matter then rotates, pulsates into spirals, which resemble the egg shape of the original form of this spiral. And that continues on. At that point, though, it's a dark universe because we don't have anything except the central sun, but the universe itself is dark. So if we were to see it at that point, it'd just be black, unless we were close enough just to see the central part. The fluffy matter then evolves into galaxies and begins to show very brightly, causing the darkness of space to be broken. Also, it starts warming it up, because as all of this fluffy matter evolves into gas, the gas becomes more and more condensed and starts creating all of these suns. The suns start putting off great amount of energy. We have electrical magnetic radiation then moving through the universe, starting to affect other coarse matter. This is the beginning then of where astrology would start. And we have heat now. Up till this point, it's probably been pretty cold in the emptiness of space. But logic is being set in pattern here, because every step of the way, all of the fine matter and the coarse matter of the universe have attained their level that they are at through reasoning and understanding. And this is forming the logic exactly of what the universe is, and is laying down, if you will, the laws or the commandments or whatever you want to call them, of what existence is all about. You see, man doesn't come along and establish the rules of the universe. We don't make the laws of creation. The laws, if you want to call them that, are nothing more than the logic of how the universe is working, how the universe came about. And this is how it came about. So it's setting in pattern this numbering of seven layers of development, and the logic then of what life and how life will evolve is being established at these very times as the universe is being created from the idea of the creation. Okay, the evolution will continue, and of course as the suns begin to evolve and come into being, so do the planets who cool down. Their matter will cool down. They fall into formation around the suns, and I'm not going to elaborate here on astronomy and those things because that's not the purpose here. I'm much more interested in just the development of the fine matter or spiritual world and an explanation of how our lives fit into the logic of the universe. So as we would move through then trillions of years of time, the universe itself is going to evolve. The planets will solidify, cool down, become solid. And then, of course, what happens next is the evolution of flora, which is air, water, and the plants and so forth, and all the million different forms within nature begin to evolve. Important to note, though, that all throughout nature, as all of this food kingdom, if you want to call it that, starts to be evolved over billions of years that will take, the logic of the universe is being used here in every step of the way. Every time a plant is evolving and being created, it is being done so with the logic that was provided originally by the creation, that embodied idea that is still the original map or idea that's causing everything to work. My point simply is to keep clear all throughout that there is definite logic and understanding to what the universe is doing, and that it is following exactly, as the Plejadians are telling us, these levels of 7 stages of development all of the way through. And this also, man will mimic and follow this same level of same stages of development that the universe is doing. After the food kingdom, of course, has evolved, since the universe is not totally stupid, you have to have food before you can have animals who eat food. So once that the universe understands through the knowledge of creation, exactly, at this point you can start seeing where a creation and a universe are really the same thing. A creation, what Pleiadians call the original idea to create a universe, actually is, but all throughout this creation then basically is the fine matter energy which creates a universe. Okay? So creation and universe start to become kind of synonymous here as this thing, and for the rest of the explanation it really will become the same thing, because creation is an idea that grows into being a universe. At this point now, the logic of creation has understood how to make the food kingdom. It has the idea of life, and it has learned that first it must create food so that there can be creatures to eat it. Fauna, which is the animal kingdom, comes along, and of course the animal kingdom now is an entirely different level of spiritual energy. It is a different level. It's following the 7 levels of development that are established within the matrix of the universe or creation itself. And each one of those 7 levels is broken down to 7 other levels with 7 subgroupings under that. So in the Pleiadian science, they've been able to map out entirely all these different levels of development of the creation itself. And through time travel and knowledge from other races, they've learned to understand each incremental step that a creation goes through in its evolution. Because this original idea of creation is doing exactly that. It is an idea that is evolving. Probably not so much different than just an idea that each one of you may have at any given moment. That idea is set in motion. It does not just die out. All of your thoughts and ideas have life to them, and when concentrated and thought on hard enough, they are manifested in greater and greater energy. And even us little humans can think to the point that we can cause creations, that we can create matter to actually happen. Because matter is nothing more than the following through of a logical idea. Okay? As long as it's logical and makes sense. So don't go out there creating illogical universes. At the point that it's necessary or logical to create the animal kingdom, then creation does that. It has the idea, then creates the energy forms to create the animal kingdom, which are coarse matter beings. Nature reacts differently than the humans do. After the animal kingdom has been evolved and goes to a certain point of stage, there gets to be a point in the stage of development of the creation then where logically it can create human life. And there's quite a bit of difference between the human life and the nature life. Humans evolved naturally out of the dead animal tissue in plants. There's a mixture. Scientifically, that's how it actually works. When the fine matter gets to the point of understanding and knowledge where it can create a human being, that's how it does it. The first human being on a planet where the life acids and so forth are correct around a certain kind of sun where it's possible for human life to develop, that's how it is done. The knowledge is provided by the fine matter energy of creation. The coarse matter provides the body material for the first human being to be born, and that is done through an understanding of the mixing together of dead animal tissue and plants. So humans are a spirit form that have come out of the idea of creation. We were created then through the logic of the creation, creating this thing we call a universe in logical steps. So there's a part piece of creation in all of us, and that part piece is an understanding of what the creation is. We are connected to it because we are a spirit form which is derived from the spiritual energy which is creation. Humans are totally separate from the floor